Okay, so welcome back to your Thursday edition of Run 'em Daily. I am your host, Harvey Banks. If you're watching this on YouTube, first of all, thank you guys. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on old school podcasts, shout out to the OGs, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you might be listening to this. Go ahead and leave this a 5-star rating, leave a review, share this with a friend. Let these tech companies know that this is the type of content that you like to consume on a Thursday where we have football that actually matters. You heard that right. Football that actually matters. We'll get into that. Also, gonna just jump around the NFL, cover a couple topics here, check in on the Shedeur situation. I'm gonna give you an updated take. That's really just my same take, as well as talk briefly about the Colts and Ravens matchup tonight and the implications that may have on their quarterback race going forward. And if we get time, we are going to go into the WNBA's issue with dildo throwing and the lame ass corny dudes behind it. I'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Okay, so for the sake of time, let's get right into it. Let's get into tonight's matchup between the Colts and the Ravens. I know that I said in the opener that we actually do have football that matters. I wasn't trying to sell you on some bullshit. We actually got some football that matters tonight. Let me explain why. It doesn't really make much difference for the Ravens in this game. Also, are we gonna bet this game tonight? I mean, I got a pick. I got some picks for tonight. Crazy, I know. We'll get to that though. But yeah, this game doesn't really have any implications on anything for the Baltimore Ravens, but for the Indianapolis Colts, and for me in particular, just so you guys know, I live about 2 miles literally from the Colts preseason training facilities. I do live here in Indy, and so the Colts kind of do hit home, although I will say I'm not really a diehard Colts fan. I do cheer for them to go well. I like to see when the Colts are playing well, the city's a little happier. So I am slightly invested in that. But tonight we actually have a quarterback battle, or round one of a quarterback battle between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, which is pretty crazy. And it's pretty, I almost said sad, but that's too dramatic to think that that's where we're at with Anthony Richardson, but that's where we at with Anthony Richardson. And I want to be clear about something too. We are comparing Anthony Richardson with Daniel Jones, and I feel like not enough people are talking about the last time you really seen a good sample size of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones played well enough-ish to get a second contract from the Giants, and he got the second contract. You kind of have to pay quarterbacks, got paid a lot of money, and the Giants very quickly realized, probably not the best money we ever spent. Wonder if we can get out of this. Had an opportunity to get out of it, did so. Daniel Jones then looked at the Colts and said, that's the spot I want to go, because he believes, and I know that he believed, that spot right there is the best situation that I have to play football immediately, because I don't want to say that the Indianapolis Colts organization quit on Anthony Richardson, but the Indianapolis Colts organization quit on Anthony Richardson. And I don't know that I blame them, simply because here's the thing. The things that Anthony Richardson does good, he actually does them great. Like, the upside and the ceiling with Anthony Richardson is so high that I get it. I understand why you draft him in that position. I understand why you're excited about having him and maybe what you can mold him into. And I also understand why you may be hesitant to move off of him from what you've seen thus far. Because when it comes to playing the position of quarterback for Anthony Richardson, I think a lot of people need to realize this. He's actually a baby. Like, he is an infant at playing quarterback. This is not a guy that grew up his whole life playing quarterback through, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. That's not what he was. Anthony Richardson is an athlete first, but he can also sling the football. He does have accuracy issues, but I don't even really like to say he has accuracy issues, if I'm being honest. I like to think of it as he has consistency issues. And I think his biggest issue is his decision making. That's really where I think Anthony Richardson may be at the ceiling already, because that's just not something in today's football that you can overcome. You make bad decisions with the football. In the NFL as a quarterback, that's an instant death wish. You just can't have that. And so what makes this little battle interesting to me is, with that being the main hang-up. Listen, I don't know that that's the main hang-up with, Shane Steichen and the Colts. I don't know that. I'm not no insider. I ain't talked to nobody. I would imagine that's it, though. It's his decision-making and his ability to just take what the defense gives him and make the smart play. If that's your issue and that's what's got you ready to give up on this young player, my only confusion and question comes in: why do you only bring in a player to compete with him that you literally have the same worries about? I know that a lot of people in this area, Indy, AFC South-ish, you know what I'm saying? You may not have great knowledge of what Daniel Jones was, but Daniel Jones is a athletic quarterback, not as athletic as Anthony Richardson, but outside of Lamar, Cam Jackson, maybe Josh Allen, who is right at that position. So not as fast as Anthony Richardson, not as athletic as Anthony Richardson. I don't even know that he has as strong of an arm as Anthony Richardson. Maybe a little more accurate, but again, the one thing that bothered you about Daniel Jones, the one thing that the Giants just couldn't overlook or couldn't overcome with him, was he makes bad decisions with the football. So you brought in a guy to be behind your guy, to compete with your guy, to see who could be the guy to not make the mistakes. What I'm saying is, I believe it is going to be very difficult to actually grade and judge these two in a preseason format, to understand and to feel confident about who you're going to go with long term. Because the evil side of both of these players are turnovers and just batshit crazy decisions with the football. So how you're going to accurately judge this, I don't know. If I had to make a guess, in the end of this, I think Anthony Richardson's going to end up being the starting quarterback going into week 1. And I think it's going to flip-flop probably multiple times throughout the season. But what's the old quote say? If you've got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. And right now, I believe the Colts don't really have a quarterback going into a season that is very important for Shane Steichen, because if you look at the Colts roster, pretty impressive roster. Everywhere else on the roster, you look at it and you're like, I think we can say we get what we need to get out of these positions. It's quarterback. And I don't think that they've done what they needed to do to actually shore that position up. Now, I understand there are these pipe dreams that, yo, bro, if we lose enough games, if we fuck this thing up enough, there's a good chance that maybe we can put something together, land in that number 1 draft spot, and then draft Arch Manning. But that's a pipe dream. And also, I would like to remind people outside of Indianapolis, or maybe not even remind you, let me alert you guys to something. Peyton Manning and the Colts relationship ain't what people thinks it is. If you live here locally, you know that Peyton Manning is an icon in this town. Children's Hospital. Peyton is him. Statue outside the state. I know. Trust me. But like, as it pertains to the organization and his relationship, for what it should be, for probably the greatest player to ever put the uniform on, and nobody did more for the city of Indianapolis when it comes Colts-wise than Peyton. It's just not there. Now the gym's dead. I don't know how that's going to play into it. That's going to sound fucked up, but it's just not there. So putting your eggs in the basket of somehow we may end up getting Arch Manning seems like a recipe for everybody to end up losing their job. So I hope that's not the game plan. I hope that they go out this year and they're trying to win games. I just have my doubts that they're going to be able to do it with either one of these quarterbacks that they have on the field, unless bringing in Daniel Jones, it ends up being what Anthony Richardson needed to get his mind right. He's got to get his mind right. And if he can figure that part out, the Colts become super exciting. Because then if you've got a all the way bought in and I'm making good decision Anthony Richardson on your team, you've got a chance to win games. And we've seen that. Then you pair that with a Daniel Jones as a backup maybe. And if something does happen to Anthony Richardson, you can kind of bring in a guy that you don't have to change the offense for. Don't miss a step. He's sneaky quick too. I'm telling you, it could work. But the line you're going to have to dance on to make that thing work is razor sharp. I just don't see it happening. But tonight, we get to see round one. How the Colts are going to be doing this, they said. So essentially, tonight, Anthony Richardson's going to start, and he's going to go with the ones. And I think he's going to play a quarter and a half. Then Daniel Jones is going to play a quarter and a half. Then next game, they're going to switch, and Daniel Jones is going to go first, vice versa. That actually gives us a pretty good side to play when it comes to betting this game tonight. And normally I would tell you idiots, don't fucking bet the preseason, bro. No one gives a fuck about this shit. It doesn't matter. There's no insights you can bet on. We're just guessing. But tonight is different. An active QB battle means for a quarter and a half, I think you're going to get the best effort from Anthony Richardson, and then you're going to follow that quarter and a half up with a quarter and a half of Daniel Jones, who's trying to change people's opinions about himself. What I believe that leads to is more Colts points scored than normal in a preseason game, because essentially if you believe that Daniel Jones can be your starting quarterback, you're going to have a potential starting quarterback in the second half of the first preseason game, going against second, third, and possibly fourth string defense. It could equal points. So there are two places to play. I took this morning, and I'm going to have to look at it to make sure because I don't have my phone in my hand right now. I took the Colts for over 21.5 points at -104 on FanDuel. I don't know what that line is now. I'll try to look and get an updated one, maybe get that edited in. But that's a good play. Again, I believe the Colts score a bunch of points tonight just because half of that game, I believe we're going to have, a first string quarterback going against the rest of them. The other play I took was the Colts -6.5. Again, the Ravens don't give a shit about a preseason game. It's Super Bowl or bust in Baltimore, and I don't think there's anything that they can learn from game one of a preseason, so I do not see them taking it serious. I think the goal for the Ravens is to get out of this thing healthy, and that will include giving up some points that you normally may not actually give up. So -6.5 for the Colts. Go ahead and take it if you need something to throw some money on to entertain yourself throughout this game, and over 21.5 points. Go ahead and run that. I think that's a good play for today. Let's move into Shedeur Sanders. So I am not backing down off of my original take that I do believe the Shedeur Sanders saga ends in him getting cut by the Browns. Even though he will be starting in their first preseason game tomorrow, I would like to add a little bit of context. I seen Stephen A. Smith, a bunch of people on ESPN, even a couple people on Fox say that they believed that Shedeur was being set up to fail when it comes to being thrusted into the starting role for this first preseason game, having taken literally minimal number one snaps. So here's the thing. You can't have it both ways, right? You can't say, I need opportunity. I just need an opportunity and I want an opportunity. And then opportunity fall into your lap. And then you say, hey, I think they're trying to blackball the kid, or I think they're trying to set the kid up to fail. And then had he not played at all or played with just the four stringers again in the preseason, it was, well, he didn't really get a chance to show what he can do. It doesn't really work both ways. You got to pick one way or the other. I believe Shedeur Sanders now has the opportunity to go out there and really shake some shit up in Cleveland. Let me explain that. But first, let's just kill the noise that they are trying to set him up to fail. It's very simple what happened here. You got 5 quarterbacks, right? There's going to be no Deshaun Watson. Kenny Pickett's hurt. Homeboy, other quarterback, Dylan Gabriel's also hurt. You just picked up the quarterback out of Hundley. So there's only 2 of you. Shedeur, it's only you. There's no one else. My boy, you got to play football. I don't think it was a big conspiracy, and I don't think they wanted him to start game 1. But, like, you got injuries. You're not putting Joe Flacco out there. What are you going to do? Shedeur, it's on you, big dog. And you wanted an opportunity, you got it. I heard, and I think it was Damian Woody. Don't. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. Heard Damian Woody bring up a good point earlier, and he said, as a backup quarterback, which is essentially would have been the best case scenario for Shedeur based on his draft status going into week 1. As a backup quarterback, the role is when the starter goes down, you got to just be ready to turn it on. So what better time to practice that than right now in the preseason? Like, I believe this is actually set up for you to win, Shedeur. Now, ultimately, I believe that Shedeur Sanders will still probably end up released. I know that is not the popular sentiment right now, but I am telling you, it may be the best thing to happen for Shedeur because Matthew Stafford has not played football yet during this training camp. That is very concerning for me. He is a 37-year-old man with back problems. So Shedeur getting cut or released, I think it opens the door for him to get an actual real opportunity in LA with the Rams as a backup or possibly a starter, because you just never know. And when you're dealing with a 37-year-old with a back, we just don't know what the situation is. And if, say they release him and he gets that opportunity to maybe go to the Rams and play and learn under Sean McVay will be able to design an offense that will cater to everything Shedeur needs, that will cater to his strengths, and will make him look more than serviceable as a quarterback in the National Football League. And I think that's very important to Shedeur. And I don't want to say I hope to see that happen because I don't want to see the kid get released. But if he does get released, which I kind of think he will, don't be too shocked if he doesn't end up in LA. Wouldn't feel too bad for the kid because he could actually be going to a better situation, if we're being honest. Okay, so let's get into this stupid ass trend of grown ass, baby-like, childlike, stupid men going to WNBA games simply to throw a dildo on the court because, you know, that's cool. And yeah, let's start here. First of all, it's absolutely disgusting. Secondly, kind of dangerous. But third, my real question lies here. What do you get out of that? Like, what makes a grown ass man wake up in the morning and say, you know what I'm going to do today? I think I'm going to go buy a dildo. Or did you own it already? And then say, let me get the app out and see if I can purchase some WNBA tickets tonight. Cause like Sophie Cunningham's in town and okay, I'm good with you there. But let me buy some WNBA tickets so I can go to the game and then throw said dildo on the floor. Cause that's gonna get me women laughs from my. Where is it at? What's the end goal there? Like, I just simply don't understand this behavior. Like, if you really hate women, just say you hate women. I, for one, don't understand it. I can tell the dudes that didn't get women growing up, and especially the adult males that don't get women now. And don't blame these WNBA players for that. Blame your daddies. That's all I can say. Maybe they didn't teach you game. Maybe they didn't teach you, you know what I'm saying, teach you how to approach women, teach you how to seal the deal, teach you how to do what you need to do to get actual love and affection from women. So for you, it's turned into, I just hate women. So every chance I get, I'm going to go out of my way to show how much I hate women. And trust me, if it comes to the jokes, I got jokes for days. I make the jokes. Ha ha, he he. I'm always here for a good time or a good joke. But once was funny. I'm not going to lie. I laughed the first time. But to make this a continuous thing, like, what are you doing? It's corny. Just cut that shit out. Like, cut it out. And I think I know the type of man you gotta be to do some fuck shit like this. You the same dude to get offended when the girls wear t-shirts saying, pay us what you owe us. Even though you have no fucking idea about the economics of the WNBA. And online, I do keep seeing this bullshit. So let's clear this up a little bit. Online, I keep seeing WNBA players are asking for more money, and men are in the comments like, you lose $50 million a year. Where the fuck do you think the money's gonna come from? And I'm like, first of all, one, the company that you work for, your salary at work is not tied, for the most part, to whether or not your company hits certain profits. So like the factory and the warehouse that you work in, Steven, you go to work, you clock in for that hourly rate of whatever it may be, and you know that's going to be your pay every week when you get paid. That is not depending on whether the company fucks the money up or not. You expect them to pay you what they owe you, and the government says they got to pay you a fair wage to do so. So you do understand that concept. Let's move this over to the WNBA. The other thing they say is you're losing $50 million a year. How can you expect to earn money? Well, how collective bargaining usually works is you're negotiating for a percentage of the revenue. I believe the NBA is somewhere near 50. The WA is sitting at around 9% of the revenue. So it's not like they're saying, generate some more money so you can find some money to pay us. What they're actually saying is, how about you just pay us a fair percentage of what you're already making, and then everything is good and we can continue this relationship to make more money. And I would like to implore men and women and everybody to use your fucking brains a little bit more. Think about this. In the same weekend that the ladies were asking for more money, the league announced that by 2030, there's going to be 5 more cities and 5 more teams. Question, do any of us think billionaires are idiots? Usually no. So you're telling me billionaires are running to donate their money to the WNBA so they can own a team to lose money? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Wherever you're getting these figures for they're losing this much money, I'm not saying they're not losing money. They may not actually be viable yet. But very smart business individuals are saying, we want to be in that business. Let's expand that business. You don't expand a business that you don't think will and or can grow or is not already sustainable. It just don't make no fucking sense. Pay them girls what you owe them girls. Simple as that. Maybe if you pay them fairly, they will do more to continue to grow this game in this business. Instead of giving out figures, because this is what I think happens. I think the league itself gave out figures to make it look like they're barely surviving and barely hanging on so the public could turn on the girls in this CBA negotiation. It happens in every league. So the public can say, oh, they're greedy. How dare these women ask for more money or ask for what they feel they're owed? That's nonsense. All I can say is some of y'all out there are working for companies that are not making money right now. Might have used to made money, but now the son took over for the dad because the dad died and he's driving the company into shit. Can he lower y'all's pay? How you gonna feel about that? Do you really want your pay to be tied to what the fuck the people in the office do with the profits? I don't think you do. Mind your business. That's their business. I'm not emotionally invested in WNBA just because I only like what I like. I don't say I dislike it. There's some teams I do like. There's some games I do watch, but I wouldn't call myself an overreaching fan. You know what I'm saying? But guess what I am good at? Minding my fucking business. You should do the same. You should do the same.